You're just back with another video and just got done watching the final episode of Shameless. Wow, that is crazy. I would have never thought we have gotten this far with this series. It's been around for at least a decade. This is the final season. Who knows if they're going to do spin-offs? I kind of made my own videos about what they could possibly do with spin-offs. Check that out in the description below. So now I want to kind of talk about this episode and this season as a whole. Did it live up to people's expectations, or was it a epic fail of a finale like a Game of Thrones? I don't think it was as bad as Game of Thrones, but definitely due to behind the scene things, this series kind of had to hobble on one foot after Fiona left, and just definitely left these last couple seasons feeling hollow, and that definitely continues in this final season. But let me start off by saying I feel like post Fiona seasons, I think Lip's character definitely had the strongest finish out of all the different characters. Frank's character was, continuously consistent. I loved everything they did with him in each season. Debbie still is my least favorite character. That doesn't change with this final season or this final episode. It just shows you more and more how trash Debbie's character is. I'm just saying, that's me personally. I know there's some people that love Debbie's character. I don't know how, but that was a big gripe of Debbie's character, especially in these later seasons. She's become very annoying and doesn't really change. Carl's character as well has taken a dip. I never really liked this whole cop arc they were doing with his character. Liam is another one that they kind of wasted, but they do some interesting things that didn't really flesh out as well as they could have. They could have done something way more with his character, but with all these different characters that you have to kind of juggle around, it is hard to write for each individual character and have everybody have equal screen time. But that doesn't excuse the lackluster final season that was season 11. They could have done a lot more with this season finale. Not to mention that they had breaks in between episodes that kind of really annoyed me, and I kind of wish they would have just kept the thing going. I know they were doing this whole Shameless Hall of Fame thing. I still have to check that out, but they could have saved that for after the season was done. I would have watched it then. Now, with all that being said, I do think the later episodes of this season are the strongest, not by much. Doesn't compare to any of the previous earlier seasons, but I tried to separate the two and just, accept it for what it is. And what we got with this final episode, I think all the characters pretty much had closure, even Frank's character. I made a video a while ago about how that this season should end with Frank, and they definitely ended with Frank in a very interesting way. I would have wanted it to be kind of different, but I understand because of behind the scene things that certain things weren't going to play out the way that I wanted. So it's like I said, every character kind of has closure, and Debbie goes off and does what Debbie does, finds random strangers and hooks up with them. Typical Gallagher shit, right? Liam, was looking for Frank the whole time. He's the only one, and Franny, that really kind of care about their father. Everybody else does, but they understand that, Frank wasn't shit. So it sucks that they weren't able to read that letter. I wish they would have got that letter and, had a moment with Frank at least. Which brings me to one of the things that I want to talk about in this episode is the whole montage of Frank kind of having his life flash before his eyes, which I think out of everything in this final episode, this was the strongest point of the episode, and how I kind of pictured this ending. Even though I think this would have been a perfect time to have a cameo from Monica and Fiona in this dream-like sequence, but they just gave us kind of flashbacks from previous episodes, and the first person that pops up was Fiona, and that hit me in the feels because that's his firstborn. He loves all his kids equally, but he always loved Fiona the most. What was also dope about this final episode is, if you remember in the first episode that we ever got, you have Frank kind of doing this voiceover talking about each one of his kids, and they do that again in this finale. It was really dope, and it's just dope to see all the years that have gone by, and you see these characters grow up from being like kids to practically adults now, and all the things that they had to go through throughout the season, dealing with Frank's bullshit with their own personal demons. Even with the lackluster final season and other seasons, it's still a hell of a journey over the last decade, watching the good times and the bad times with these characters. But really what makes this whole entire series unique is you have so many different main characters that you follow, and whoever you kind of gravitated towards or, related to the most, that's pretty much kind of who you can see as your main character. But all of them are really just like Frank at the end of the day. They just go a different way about it. So now to kind of wrap things up for this final season, it's just kind of crazy to look back at all the different seasons, and I'm just starting to just recall a lot of different moments in all these characters' journeys throughout this whole entire series. It's been a ride, man. Just starting things off with Fiona and just how everything was on her shoulders. Now Lip has to kind of carry the torch. It was very different. It was difficult for him, but at the end of the day, I still am happy with what I got with this whole series overall. Could things have been better? Yes, of course. Any show could have been better. With this being 11 seasons, you weren't going to get back-to-back amazing seasons, even though I think out of the 11, there were only like probably 2 or 3 bad seasons. I would say season 8 and season 11 were the weakest. Let me know how you guys feel about that. What were some of your favorite seasons? I might make that into a whole video. I think it'd be really cool to see people's top 11. What's their favorite season? What's their least favorite season? So like I said before, yes, I am disappointed in this final season overall. I think it was definitely rushed at some points, and a lot of things didn't deliver. But overall, I think all the characters still got somewhat of a closure or closing chapter for now. We don't know if they're going to do spin-offs or anything like that. That would be really cool to see. This is still a dope show to kind of get into. It definitely has replay value. I will definitely be going back and watching some of the older episodes. I've done that here and there, but of course I'm going to possibly skip some of these episodes and go right to the final episode, because I think out of all the episodes this final season, this was definitely the better one. I like last week's. Last week was cool. They did kind of give us somewhat of a fake out of Frank's death, but it ended up coming true. All I'll say about that is I wish that we actually had a moment with the whole entire Gallagher family kind of at Frank's bedside or something like that. But, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I still enjoy what I got from this series. Let me know how you guys feel about this last episode in the comments below. How do you guys feel about the whole series or even this whole season? Let me know your thoughts. Till next time, I will see y'all later. Peace.